One of the questions that we get is, is heart rate important, or what does that have to do with getting a good workout? Do your heart rate have to be sky high to get a good workout? Does it need to be in those higher percentiles? Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Healthy Living Wichita podcast with Go Time Training. I'm your host, Raymond Elliott, lead personal trainer at Go Time Training in Northeast Wichita, Kansas. I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years now, and I've seen it all. This podcast cuts through all the fads and gimmicks to give you a science-based truth on all things fitness and nutrition, so you don't have to try to figure it out on your own. If you want to live happier and healthier and get the scoop on how to work out, eat right, and keep a positive mindset, you're in the right place. It's go time. Now, let's get to the show. Whew, it's another one. Healthy Living Wichita. We are back, and we're ready to have some fun. We got Sky Bones here, the buddy, the pal. so we got Skylor Kistler. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself. Hi, you.
Hi, yeah. Trainer here for just about 4 years now. Wow. I think I live the furthest away from everybody.
Yeah, I'm pretty close, but yeah. You got me beat.
Both got that 30-minute drive here to work.
Yeah.
It's not too bad at 4 a.m, but do a lot of the mornings, working, starting at 5 a.m, finishing up around 1. No longer doing the full day.
Technical difficulties. Yeah. So, yep, Skyler's been here. He actually services the most clients that we have here. So he works out with a lot of people, and so you hear a lot of different things from everybody. He kind of knows a little bit about everybody sometimes, which is good in this business. But I'm sure like some of the things that are common that we hear from our clients is talking about heart rate, right?
Yep.
So we hear a lot of our clients that either utilize. We have the MyZone here, which is a cool aspect where people can actually see their heart rate in real time, what's going on. It shows them different intensity levels based off their heart rate percentages and all those things. So one of the questions that we get is, is heart rate important, or what does that have to do with getting a good workout? Do your heart rate have to be sky high to get a good workout? Does it need to be in those higher percentiles? What's your thoughts, or how do you answer those when all these lovely people?
Typically, I always tell them it depends on the exercise. Obviously, we want to see their effort pretty high. So again, when it comes to exercise selection, if somebody's doing a core exercise, depending on what it is, it may not get them up into that 90% of their max heart rate, obviously. However, if we're doing deadlifts or squats, we want their intensity to be high. We want them to kind of push towards failure, not necessarily failing. Obviously, failure isn't always, the best way to go.
Right.
But, flirt with failure, get close, keep the intensity high. That way, progress is going to happen much quicker. And obviously, in the mornings, we have quite a bit of people who have the MyZone. So it's nice to kind of see where their heart rate is at. Obviously, some of the personal training people have it. So, if someone's going from a squat or a deadlift to something like a bench press, we want to make sure their heart rate does get back down before they go to that next lift. When they're trying to, like for some people, get stronger on bench press, you don't want your heart rate at 170 beats per minute. When you're going into that bench press, you're going to definitely tire out. You're not going to have that much effort for that next set. So
yeah,
obviously heart rate matters when calories are being burnt. But when we're doing strength training workouts, we're obviously trying to build muscle, not so much burn as many calories as possible. We have that what we call the finisher at the end to kind of, get that conditioning going. But the heart rate is definitely not always the most important part. Obviously the form and, being careful throughout the exercise is going to be the most important thing.
Right. There's more benefits to just burning calories, but one thing I don't think a lot of people understand with intense weight training, which you're never going to get from a heart rate monitor, MyZone, is that afterburn effect, that EPOC, the excess oxygen consumption, and the recovery. So studies have shown that you, after intense weight training, and not at high heart rate intense weight training, but intense weight training, you can actually increase your metabolism from 10 to 15% for up to 3 days afterwards, which is why it would make sense to at least work out every 2 or 3 days. weight training, and also you won't be able to see that, but that's an extreme amount of calories that you're burning. I mean, 10 more percent. That's like you can either eat the same amount of food and see 10% more results, or you can eat 10% more food, which is probably what I would do, and still see the same results.
Exactly.
So either way, there's a huge benefit of that. But I do think heart rate monitors serve a purpose, and I think like you hit some of those. Like it's cool to be able to see like your recovery, and so instead of just like a whatever subjective time, like 30 seconds, 90 seconds, a minute and a half, you can actually do that based off your own recovery. And so you can take that time not based off like some equation or some thing that the ACSM wants to give you, like you need 90-second rest. Like, no, you can use your heart rate as a guide for that. And as you improve, that your recovery heart rate's actually going to be quicker. And so you technically will be kind of working faster and harder and maybe more volume through your workout. So it's kind of like automatically progresses you. And it's cool to also be able to see those things too. Like I see a lot of clients, they work a little bit harder because they have more self-awareness and they want to hit those numbers. So it gives you some goals to shoot for.
I think it definitely encourages the people to push, themselves a little bit harder. It can give us a good eye of, when to push others maybe a little bit more, as long as, again, that form is looking pretty good on those select exercises. But when it comes to the conditioning at the end, it's like, all right, let's get that heart rate up, see how high you can push it, whether it's on the ropes or the sleds, doing medicine ball work. So I don't know, I enjoy working out with it. I like to see how many calories
yourself, right?
Yeah, I like to see how many calories I'm pushing through my workouts, because again, if you're burning 800 calories or 400 calories, it's a good indicator of how much you should be able to refuel your body with. But again, strength training is going to be more about adding some muscle, hopefully, because, as we get older, we lose muscle mass.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that one study. It said about every decade we lose about 5 pounds of muscle mass, and we actually add 10 pounds of body weight. So,
you're losing 5 pounds and you're adding that much.
Yeah, so that's something that we want to help combat. And luckily we have that in-body scan too, which kind of helps us, regulate and keep an eye on how their muscle mass is doing, whether they're trying to lose weight or they're definitely trying to add muscle. I think that's something we're always trying to have our clients do, is add some muscle. So now if you're wearing that MyZone for the like cardio outside of here, doing a stair stepper, treadmill, bicycle, whatever kind of cardio you like, I think those MyZones can actually go in water, so you can wear them during swimming. But when it comes to cardio, heart rate matters. You want to, whichever type of cardio you're doing, you want to see how many calories you're burning, get the heart rate up as high as you can handle it, and just, I don't know, go crazy with it.
Matters for far as intensity, but you can also do steady state and like you said, we're trying to build muscle, and so that's a big part. And that's a big part of your metabolism for a long time, especially for women. They seem to lose lean body mass, like you were saying, like 0.5 pound a year, which over time could be a ton of things. Non-weight lifting women lose about 0.5 pound of muscle a year. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but like you said, 10 years, 5 pounds, 20 years, all of a sudden when you go from your 20s to your 40s to your 30s, you're 15, 20 pounds less muscle mass, but you've added all that back into actually body fat. So muscle is fat burning machinery. That's a big part of your metabolism. So that's huge with losing weight, maintaining weight. And heart rate monitors are not always a good indicator of really even how many calories you burn, because it's not going to take an effect those afterburn things that kind of happen in recovery from rebuilding and remodeling your muscle. But it's not always a good indicator of good form, good structure, how much you did. You can like kind of do jumping jacks for an hour and probably see a really good calorie burn, but is that as beneficial as doing a heavy deadlift?
Exactly.
As far as your full body and overall health goes. So basically, it's beneficial. It's nice to have. But it's also not the only indicator or the greatest indicator. And I think that's where I see sometimes the struggle. Sometimes I love that we have the MyZone, that we have those monitors, that people can see that. But sometimes we get those complaints where people don't feel like they got a good enough workout because they didn't get their heart rate high enough. And it's not always a good indicator. So sometimes it can be a deterrent, or it kind of shoots us in the foot, because it's not always, like I said, it doesn't always mean that you got a great workout or that you're improving yourself. Just because you didn't hit a certain calorie that day.
Yeah, and some people will, maybe finish an exercise and they look up there and they see their heart rate may not be in the kind of zone they want it to be. And they're like, well, I was almost near failure. How come it's not up there that high? I'm like, well, muscular failure doesn't always translate to your heart rate being skyrocketed.
Yeah, heart rate and those things don't always, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit more on us to educate them. I think we've done a pretty good job, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't always want to have to chase heart rate in a pump.
Yeah.
There's other ways to actually improve, and I think you need a combination of both those things. I do like that, you can see that you have some sort of awareness, and it's even kind of cool to like see the different exercise. Like, wow, for some reason these lunges kick my butt, my heart rate, I'm at 90%, but I could do this exercise and it doesn't do anything. So you also kind of learn what exercises have a higher impact, I guess, on your cardiovascular. Is that seeming cool as trainers? Like, wow.
Yeah,
crap,
typically,
really?
obviously, leg work exercises are going to do it. But for me, even doing like some simple arm curls, go figure, can actually get mine up there pretty high.
Yeah.
Just creating a whole bunch of full body tension, and keeping the form as A1 as possible. I was surprised seeing how high like a simple arm curl can get my heart rate up into the yellow or red zone, which is kind of rare. Whenever I get to that red zone, I just stop pretty much.
Really? Yeah. I used it a lot for sprinting. So instead of doing time, I would just like figure out what was my intensity I need to get to, something 90% of maximum heart rate or whatever my Corvonin formula was. And then I would use my recovery and I would just wait till my heart rate got back down to that. And that's how I would do my sprints. There was no timing. It was just like, once I got there, I ran as hard as I could till I got there. And then I would stop and then I would wait to go back down. And I would do that. And I would just do like sets of 15 and be done. I just realized as I got that, it was harder for me to get to that zone. So I had to run harder or farther. And I was getting quicker recovery, and so I was having to do them more with less rest in between them. So that was kind of a cool thing. But I don't use it that much in actual weight training because when I do weight training, I don't do a ton of conditioning. And, I mean, I've competed in shows and got down to very low single-digit body fat percentages, and I never really had to do really super high-intensity cardiorespiratory exercise. I did a lot of the meat and potatoes, heavy compound lifts, and still was able to burn a lot of body fat and maintain lean body mass. And so how many calories I burned for every exercise wasn't always extremely important.
Yeah.
At least in that aspect. So some benefits to it, as you noted too. Anything else with heart rate or anything that you want to speak upon on those things?
No. I like it. I think it kind of keeps us accountable whether you have one or not. I know there's been a couple of times where I felt like my heart was still pounding and I look down and I'm like in the gray. I'm like, okay, it's time to go again. So again, I don't know. I enjoy kind of seeing some of the things. Again, what exercises makes my heart rate skyrocket, which ones don't. And again, just because an exercise doesn't get your heart rate up in the 160 or 170s doesn't mean it's not an effective exercise.
Yeah.
I think, every exercise has its place. And if you are strength training, don't try to keep your heart rate up in that, super high heart rate zone.
Yeah.
If anything, you might just increase your risk of injury, which obviously is very counterintuitive. So.
Yeah, in fact, you probably need more recovery. You probably need to try to keep your heart rate a little bit lower, except for that when you're doing the actual lifts. But that's another thing. I think when people get in a heart rate, they feel like they have to constantly go, and they get in this fashion of conditioning, circuit training, nonstop exercising, and they're not giving themselves enough rest and recovery to really put any actual strength into their lifts and lift enough weight to actually cause that adaptation to build muscle. And most people that want to lose weight, really what they're saying is I want to drop body fat and maintain or gain muscle because I want to look fit, and you have to do that through those. So I think if you have an understanding of what the goal is and what you're trying to get to, that makes a lot of difference to what you're looking at. Just don't get like over, I guess, obsessed with just how many calories you burn and how high you got your heart rate. Another thing I kind of like about the MyZone that is kind of just like for me as a personal trainer is when I program, I kind of want to have a pyramid effect with my clients. So it's kind of cool to be able to see the colors so I can kind of see, I want to kind of take them from that slower, ramp them up so I can see when it goes from like the blues to the greens, and I start to hit, I can pyramid at the top with some yellows and reds, and then I can kind of cool back down. So it kind of lets me know like how their programming is, which is kind of how I want it to be.
Yep.
a ramped up approach and then a lowering approach with some high ends at the top, and you can kind of see those intervals through there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool looking up there and seeing everybody. Like today, I know that in the I think it was a 5 aim group. I mean, there was a lot of people pushing really hard. Near the end, there was multiple people in the red zone, which, I mean, obviously those people do a really good job pushing themselves. But again, it depends on those exercises that they're doing. A lot of times those sleds can get the best of people and push them up there in the red. But I mean, again, for the exercise, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I just think like keep in mind when weight training, use your progress, if you're doing more reps or you're doing more weight for those ones as your indicator of a good workout and how you're feeling your strength wise. And then when you're doing more of your conditioning, your cardiorespiratory type exercises and aerobic, then you can use your heart rate as more of a monitor. Of course, you can still do like performance type things with that, like you're pushing more weight or you're going more reps on those, but that could be a better indicator of those, and then just kind of keep those separate. I've always been kind of a full service comprehensive programming. I never really thought that you should really focus in one modality unless that's like your only goal.
Yeah.
And that working kind of everything, anaerobic, aerobic, strength training, power is all really beneficial for most people to get into those things.
Yep. I'm not really a fan of cardio, so
No, I'm not a fan of cardio. No, me either. But I do like conditioning. Like if I was to do cardiovascular, and when I did more cardiovascular circuit type training, high intensity interval training, prowler, sprinting, that's my gig.
Yeah.
Running on a treadmill or running outside for hours, not so much.
No, yeah, we're the same there. But I mean, some people love it.
Yeah. Well, that's what it really comes down to. I mean, we can say all this stuff. We're always going to tell you what is the practical stuff to do, and it's probably the best. But if you don't love it and you don't want to continuously do it, it doesn't matter. So weight training, don't like it, you should do it. It's very beneficial. You're going to help you get to your goals. It's going to be better for everything. But if you don't love it and you love cardio, then it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And vice versa, you know.
Without question.
Anything else there, brother?
Anything I can think of.
It's definitely a Thursday. It's been a long week. It's been a good week, but we've been through it, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you pushing all those yahoos in there every day. You're always one of the best. Everybody enjoys your classes, and it's cool to see people get involved and really try to push yourself. And that's probably what I think is the most beneficial. My zone is that self-awareness, and really, we've seen a lot of people push themselves harder than they did before they kind of knew and has those goals, and those are the most important. So figure out goals, whatever that may be. As you said, it doesn't always mean it's a great indicator of a workout. So your heart rate and calorie burn doesn't always show you the whole picture. It does show you a picture. So you can have that as a focus, but it's definitely not the be all. And it doesn't always mean that you got a good workout or you're doing something beneficial for your goals, whatever those goals may be.
Yep.
All right, man. So what are we going to do now? Go
legs.
fishing?
Go get the heart
Let's
rate
go
up.
legs. All right. Are we doing conditioning sprints or squats? What is your favorite leg exercise?
Oh, the one
He does the booty blast here too, so there might be questions about booty. That's our next topic. How do you build the perfect peach?
The Tuesday morning 6 a.m. group. Yeah, that's a fun group. I don't know. For me, I like doing the medium high weight and anywhere between 6 and 15 reps.
Yeah.
I don't like to max out legs very often, and I don't really care to try to be the strongest person in the gym anymore. So
no, you don't need to. Do you like squats, lunges?
I like my reverse lunges, barbell reverse lunges instead of squats.
They murder people. I think lunges is probably one of the most like underrated or like least things that a lot of guys do. You just don't see a lot of them. They don't do hip thrusts. They don't do a lot of lunges. They don't do a lot of step ups. It's like leg press, squat, deadlift, which are all still great exercises, but it seems like they kind of sometimes lunges might be in there. But I mean, and that's one of our most foundational movement patterns. We lunge a lot of times more than we squat.
Yeah, I'd like doing the single leg exercises, single leg deadlift, the barbell reverse lunges. I'll be sore for a few days, and I always complain my Fridays to everybody, but I mean, that's just my way of kind of connecting with them. Like, hey, I mean,
We go
this
through it
exercise may kind of suck, but I do it to myself. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can complain to me. I know where you're coming from, but you're still going to do it.
I think every trainer's like done a workout program themselves, and then like, okay, yeah, you guys are gonna do this today. I just went through this almost identically.
Yep.
And it sucked for me, so it's gonna suck for you. Sometimes I'm amazed on how hard our clients work, though.
Yeah.
Like I don't do nearly as much as a lot of them do, and I should be as a good condition. All right, buddy. Well, we got leg day, so we're gonna go hit that real quick, but and we'll try to get our heart rate up, but also try to give ourselves plenty of rest intervals so we can be the toughest guy or the strongest guys in the gym. No, I'm just playing. We can maybe do that here. Did Caleb leave? All right. Well, Healthy Living Wichita, me and Skylor, we're out. You got to say anything to all the people, the millions across the world? No. All right.
Just
good.
keep grinding. Get better. A little bit better every day.
There you go. That's how we got to do it. All right. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Healthy Living Wichita podcast with Go Time Training. If you enjoyed today's show and want to get started with your own fitness journey, I'd love to help kickstart your goals. How do 4 60-minute personal training sessions for $99 with me sound? Head over to www.gotimetraining.com/podcast to claim yours. I can't wait to meet you.